Hello, everyone, and welcome to our regular show. Wednesday, we are here today with you, me, host Anastasia from Customer Support, and joining me, Benjamin, Benjamin from Customer Success.
Hi
Hello,
there, it's
folks.
great to be here.
So we're going to be waiting for a couple of minutes when people are joining in into the chat. So I see people are populating into and starting to view. Before we start with the show, we're just going to do a quick round of introductions. Benjamin, tell us a little bit about yourself so we know who you are. So how long
Yeah,
you've been with Restream? What do you do?
absolutely. I've been with Stream a little over 2 years now. So I'm currently on the customer success team. So most of my time is spent doing account management for a lot of our users, mostly focused with our enterprise users. So if you're interested in enterprise at all or what that is, I'm the guy to talk to. Um, Account management really kind of covers a wide variety of different services for these clients, which include onboarding support, so training, teaching, going through all of the different aspects of Restream and making sure that whoever it is that I'm working with has the appropriate amount of knowledge to use the tool successfully, and have really good success with their live streams. I'm doing great, Gabe. Thanks for asking. And
I love
I
that.
also do, troubleshooting assistance, technical assistance, workarounds, best practices, pretty much anything that the client needs to get connected and properly streaming to their channels, whatever those channels may be. And then, of course, event-based support as well. So I can be there in the background during some large clients' streams to be there for technical assistance if something goes wrong, or maybe they need some production assistance in the background, or just pre-event setup, that sort of thing.
Awesome, awesome. Sounds like you have a lot of experience. Seems like you've been in the team for a while. I feel like we're in good hands today. Today, our topic of discussion of today, our weekly call, is video graphics and branding. Whoa, super interesting. It's kind of how to hype your stream. This is where we are today and what we're going to be talking. I see Gabe is very active on chat. Hello, he wants to connect with us on LinkedIn. Sure, of course, you can find us on LinkedIn if you just Google Restream employees Anastasia and Benjamin. I'm pretty sure we're the only ones so far with this name, so you can find us.
Yeah.
As more people are populating into the chat, please also let us know where you guys from and what you guys streaming. So this kind of help us a little bit to orient the conversation of today and kind of take it to a little bit more specialized for you. But also for us, I feel like hyping up your stream and making it more interesting. And this is where the video graphics and overlays and this content will come in handy and will make it so much more professional. Benjamin, for your streams or from the customers that you see in an enterprise, do people tend to use overlays? How that
Yeah,
enterprise world happening?
yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. In most cases, they're absolutely using overlays, graphics. When it comes to enterprise, a lot of the clients that I'm working with are large companies. They usually have like thousands of employees doing a lot of internal company stuff or even public facing stuff, and so it all needs to be a branded experience for them, and that's about making sure that people can, whoever it is that's joining the meeting or joining the live stream, can, within the first couple of seconds, get a really strong idea of what it is that they're watching, what it is that the content is going to be about, and who it is that their focus should be on. And, graphics and overlays really is the best way to have that kind of snapshot of as soon as you join into stream, that's what you can understand what it is that you're watching and what it's about.
Awesome. That sounds exciting. Wow, we are so interesting to learn more about the video clips and how to make the stream more professional. I see people are joining and they saying where they from, so I'm gonna show up a little bit few comments, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
We
By the
have all
way,
yes.
Gabe, I saw that you pointed out my headsets. These are an Astro A20s, I think. But they're Astro headsets. So if you're interested in them, check out Astro. Really great products.
Awesome.
That's
Woo!
not endorsed, by the way.
That's nice. We have some viewers also coming from Kuala Lumpur. This is super cool, exciting stuff. Guys, I see also questions that are not related to video content, but and they're just sorry, video clips and overlays, but the general content. We're gonna be answering all your questions today throughout the show, and we have a special thing going on today as well. And the end of the show, we're gonna have a giveaway, and the prize is. It's a consultation with Benjamin.
Yay!
Woo! So
With yours truly,
amazing.
yes.
Benjamin will help you walk with all your questions, will help you get set up, will help you get, enterprise level prepared for your first stream or your next stream and give you
Hmm.
all the advice there. So stay tuned for today's until the end of the show so we can start with the giveaway.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, guys, please jump, please continue start asking your questions in the chat, but also let us know where you're from and what you're streaming. We're super interested to know. And while you're getting warm up and also answering our question, we're gonna do a quick demo of our product that usually happens at the start of our show to kind of highlight the topic again with the use of overlays and video graphics. And here it comes. Alrighty, so that was a quick intro to Restream. I see people are posting where they're from, so it's pretty crazy locations today. So we saw Kuala Lumpur, here's from uh, Jamaica as well, Dominican Republic, which is pretty exciting. Um, so Virdavan, I'm sorry, I never heard this destination before. It feels like I need to do a bit more traveling. It's pretty exciting to see you here as well. Thank you for joining our stream. So today we're going to be talking about all the video graphics and overlays, how basically making your content looking more professional, how to make your stream to that next level. And we're going to be answering, obviously, your questions from the chat. We also have prepared some questions for ourselves that we're going to be answering. But we're going to start with a quick demo. Quick demo, what we have and what we can offer right now. Benjamin, do you want to take over?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. I do want to just say though that as we're going through this demo, and we're showcasing certain features and talking about what they do and how to use them, please feel free to ask questions about the specific features or anything to do with like overlays and graphical things that you can do in the studio. We really want to know what it is that you guys want to know about how to use the studio for this purpose. And so just feel free to ask questions. Anastasia will be keeping an eye while I'm going through the demo and pop up those questions as we go through.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go ahead and start with a screen share, which is one of the most basic features in the studio to add additional content. And here we go. All right. So this is my studio space. Obviously, this is not the live space that we're doing the stream in, but this is just my personal studio space here. I've added this by using the screen share option right here. You click this button, and then you have three different options. You can do your entire screen, the window, or the Chrome tab. I'm right now just doing a Chrome tab. It's a pretty quick and easy way of getting it in there. You just select the tab that you want to do and you add it in. And that's how we got this here. Now, if you're wanting to share audio when you include your screen share, you want to make sure that you're using the entire screen or the Chrome tab option. Those are the only two that are going to give you the actual audio to be included from whatever you're screen sharing. Otherwise, you can choose the individual application that you're using, but you want to make sure that if you include screen share or include audio, you use one of these other two options than the specific audio option, or sorry, a specific application option. But that's how I'm getting the screen from the other studio right here into the stream, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just start right down the line at the top of the graphical options here, and these are the brand settings. So as you see Anastasia start popping up comments from the chat into the studio space here, where you can actually see them, how that is controlled and how it looks is actually done here in the brand settings. I believe we're using the default option right now. And so that's kind of how that's going to appear. Of course, you can change the color at will while you're live or beforehand. Usually you want to do it beforehand to kind of match your branded experience. But that's going to change the way that the captions and chat messages appear in the studio. So right now I'm using a caption here, but of course I can go here and highlight any one of the comments as well. I actually have my channel paired to the stream here, so I'm actually getting the chat messages to my studio space, because technically it's also streaming to this stream is also streaming to my channels, which is a really cool new feature called pairs, and we can touch on that a little bit more later in the stream. But that's how I got the chat messages here appearing in my studio space, even though I'm not live. And so, again, any of these will change chat messages or captions and the color. I personally like the rounded one. That's the one that I think looks kind of the coolest for my streams when I do them. I mostly do gaming streams, though. I'm a bit of a gamer, but you can use any one that fits your branded experience. The next section here is going to be some toggles, which will control certain smaller aspects of the studio. And so default graphics will actually give the preloaded default graphics that you have available to you when you first enter the studio space before you've done any customization. These are free to use. They're royalty free. You can use them for your shows however you want to, and we really highly encourage you to use them. Our team works really hard on getting these really cool graphics and countdown timers in there, and so we would love to see everybody using them.
They actually also changed. They also changed every
Kind of
spring, every
seasonally. Yeah.
season. I
Yeah.
love it. They're
Yeah.
so like, now we're preparing for Halloween and with the
Mm-hmm.
pumpkins and such. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
We
Yeah.
have some like kind of fall themes right now. I can't wait to see the spooky Halloween stuff that we
Oh,
come
and the
out with.
Christmas then as well. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, it's gonna be
Yeah.
so amazing.
Yes. I am not currently using an Elgato Stream Deck, but I do have one, and I have used it in the past. I can also touch on some different ways that you can use the Stream Deck with the studio specifically in a little bit. So we'll loop back around to that question. All right, and so there's three other options here. Show non-video participants. So if I toggle this on, and I toggle myself on here in the studio, my camera is obviously being used elsewhere, right? Like I'm appearing in the live stream, my camera's not available over here in my fake studio space that I got going on. So when I toggle my camera on, it's not going to appear anywhere. It's just a black space because I don't have any active camera available. And so what this does is I can toggle this off, and now my where my camera would be is no longer taking up space in the studio, but I'm still active. So if I have an active microphone over here, yes, I wanted to allow to use my microphone. I have my active microphone, and now my audio is getting captured, even though I am not showing any video. And so this is really nice if you have like guests coming in that don't necessarily have a video camera, or maybe they just don't want to be on camera, or perhaps you're just doing a podcast and you don't have any video needed for the recording or for the stream. And so then you can just toggle that off, and then you can do some really cool things from there, which I'll show you in a minute, of using backgrounds and video clips and things like that to kind of produce additional content without having a camera. Oh, that is so cool, Gabe. So he's actually so we're using the paired feature right now, and he's actually looking on my LinkedIn profile, watching the paired stream from my profile on LinkedIn, and commenting, and it's coming into the stream there. So that is really cool, Gabe. Thank you so much for that. All right, and so we have two other toggle options that I want to go over before I get into the really fun stuff down here. And that is automatically screen share and show participant names. So the automatically screen share is obviously I'm screen sharing in the studio right now, but with this toggled on, when I go to do the screen share, it automatically brings it into the live production space right away, rather than me manually having to toggle it and enable it to bring it into the live space. So I'm first going to show you what it looks like with it toggled off. I go to do the screen share. I'll just pull this one over here, double screen share it, and now you see it's over here on the left hand side, which is the spotlight. It's kind of the place where you go to control all of the active or inactive video sources, guests, audio sources. Anything that you've added into your stream as a controllable source is going to appear on that left hand menu there. And so now I can toggle it on, bring it in, and now I have this huge cascade effect because I'm screen sharing to screen share while screen sharing. So I'm going to toggle that back off and remove this. You can remove any source except yourself. You can't remove yourself, but you can remove any other source by just going to those three dots, just like that. And now I'm going to toggle this back on, and when I do the screen share this time, you'll notice that it automatically is brought into the space immediately live. And so that's what that option just controls, is your workflow of how it is that you want to bring in the screen share, whether it's active immediately or whether you toggle it and kind of control like the layout functionality of how that looks. And then of course there's participant names, which when I toggle this on, if a participant has entered a name, they will appear here. I do need to show non-video participants. There we go. And so if my video camera was there, I would be visible in the studio, and now I have my name here, and that's just a toggle. And of course you can change the theme and the color with all of these branded options as well. That is, I'm actually just about to get into that, Doc. I'm going to also touch on some things about how to use OBS with the studio to do certain things that might not be possible natively in the studio. So I think if you stay tuned here, you're going to get a little bit of a knowledge bomb on how you can do that.
In your experience as well, interesting. Would the people usually use the colors that are very different from their corporate colors, or vice versa, use exactly what their corporate colors are when they choosing the colors for messages and captions and graphics?
It's almost always matched. So if they have like a certain brand that they're doing a stream for, so say it's I don't know, we'll just Coca-Cola, for instance, is decides to do a live stream through us, and if I would expect that they're going to have their Coca-Cola symbol, their logo in the upper right hand corner or somewhere else in the stream, kind of that branded experience, and so then they're going to have the color of comments and everything like that match that same color. So whether it's the white or the red, they would go with one of those two is most common of what I see for corporations and large enterprise clients that are doing those types of streams.
Awesome.
Yeah, great question. So I'm just going to pause for just a second, just check in with you guys if you have any questions about things that we've covered so far with the captions, chat, and branding of how that's going to look and appear, and how you can interact with that in the studio.
I think I have a very good question regarding the shortkeys. Is there any
Oh,
possibility, sorry, shortkeys, hotkeys. Is
mhm.
there a possibility to use the hotkeys with the graphic and overlays and anything about that?
Yeah, so there is some new hotkeys for our layouts here, and so you can see if you're looking down here, each one of these has an L and a number. So if you hit L and then the number, it'll let you just easily switch between those different layouts, which can kind of help kind of streamline your workflow, especially if you have multiple sources. Like say I'm like screen sharing here. We'll do this screen share here, toggle in, just to have some additional sources here. And now I can just hit, L1, L2, L4, just to switch between these really easily. And so it just makes it super simple. And so then if you have a program or a device like the Stream Deck, you can then program those hotkeys directly into your hotkey controller, which would be the Stream Deck in this example, and then it's just a single button press to switch between these layouts, as well as some different hotkeys for the actual settings within the studio as well for yourself. So M is going to mute your mic, V is going to toggle your camera on and off. You can access the settings by hitting S. So there's some built-in hotkeys that you can then use to program like a Stream Deck for certain functionality. Of course, if your program like the Stream Deck works with other programs like AutoHotkey and you're into scripting, you can do even more with it, because you're going to be able to script your own commands to execute things like controlling different aspects of your browser, and potentially even toggling a specific overlay or folder on, by using AutoHotkeys and Stream Deck or something like that. So as far as answering your question specifically, there isn't for a specific overlay. You can't toggle a hotkey for it, but you can change layouts and some general settings right now. I do believe our developers are working on exploring some different options, and potentially maybe even integrating with Elgato on the Stream Deck and our studio later on the road. That's definitely a discussion to have.
Cool. Thank you for covering this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I sent a few questions regarding the coming into the branding,
Hmm.
and I kind of using the branding and chat and video clips specifically. Do you want to touch base on the video clips and what is possible with the video solutions or
Yeah.
that we can implement during the stream?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of the next section that I'm going to tackle here. You see that there's basically four sections for visual content, right? So these are the four sections where you're going to upload the different types of visual content that you're going to have showcased in your stream. For actual video content, you're looking at the video clip section. And there's actually two different ways to play video content, pre-recorded videos within the studio space while you're live or while you're recording, whichever one that you're doing. So each option is basically the flip side of the coin. So they both do the same thing, but in completely opposite ways. The video clip section is basically automated. So if you want to be able to just upload a short clip, have it live in the studio space, and then with a one click of a button, activate it, have it run automatically. Everything else kind of gets hid and muted automatically, and then it plays, goes away, and everything comes back without you having to do anything, video clip section is where you want to do that. That's the sort of automated way of playing a video clip. Really great for opening sequences, pre-rolls, countdown timers, all of those kind of things. So it is limited to 300 megabytes in video size, though. So that you're kind of limited on how big that file is going to be. So usually you can fit like a 1 to 5 minute a 5 minute video there. Is 5 minutes is stretching a little bit, but with 300 megabytes, depending upon the quality size and the bit rate that you've created the video with, you can usually fit it in there. I have default graphics toggled off, but of course, if I toggle them on, you have a number of default ones that we have uploaded, countdown timers, just some general video clips, those kind of things. But MP4s, FLVs, MOVs, TS, WebM, and GIFs are all supported. Oops. And then 300 megabytes is the file size there. So as soon as I click it, it just hides and mutes everything in the background automatically. You can say, hey, your mic is muted while this is playing. It's going to play this video clip. You can see that this is a timer, but you can also see over here, there's a little bar that kind of tells you how much longer is left on playing. Once it's done, it automatically goes away. I can end it early as well. Everything comes back into its live space, unmuted, and you can just continue your show or start your show, whatever it is. Now, if you want to have the basically, complete control over everything, how the video clip plays, how it looks in the studio, pausing, fast forward, rewinding, maybe you want it to loop, all of those fun options, that's where you go into here, choose add source, choose a local video file, and then you're going to get to add in a local video file that way. And now it's over here on the left-hand side as a controllable video source, right? And so now I can toggle it on, and it's just an additional video source there in the studio, which, is right next to my video sources. I can set it to loop if I just wanted to continue to play, and, I can choose different layout options and kind of switch these around. So this is really nice if I'm doing like a presentation. Maybe I'm having panelists do a discussion about some particular content or a product launch, and I want my members of my product team to talk about what the content of the video is, get some reactions, that sort of stuff. I can pause it, control the volume, rewind it. I can maximize it here to hide the other sources in the studio. However, that option does not mute things in the background. So if you do want it to be automatically muted, I highly recommend using the video clips option, because right now you can see that even though I'm not visible in the stream right now, my microphone is still active here, and I'm lighting up because my microphone is getting picked up. And so it's important to note that using the local video option is not going to automatically hide or mute anything when you're playing this clip. But those are the two options for playing pre-recorded video files. We do have some recommendations on when you are going to play a pre-recorded video clip. Streaming it, it's a much different experience than if you're just uploading it to a site like YouTube or something like that. So it's important that you make sure that it's encoded with the right settings for web playback. And we have some really great help articles on our website that go through the specific parameters to say, hey, this is what you need to have the best playback for a pre-recorded video file. So I highly recommend checking that out. And if you do have any questions about that or run into any issues, our support team is really awesome, and they can walk you through those steps and point you in the right direction.
Thanks, Benjamin. This is super amazing. I really like the hey, it's true. I'm a big fan of kittens, so I'm. I was like just watching the video there. I was like, oh. So, would you suggest that there's two ways of streaming your? If you wanted to make it the video content, is there two ways? Is a video clip and local video file? And is there any recommendations into where we should use which one, or just any of them? Does it matter?
Kind of like
Does it make
what
a
I said.
difference, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So for video clips, if you want it to be automated, if it's just a short, pre-roll clip, opening sequence, maybe ending credits, or you got like, like the video that we did at the start of our show, where it was just, a little promo for, what we're going to be talking about today, the graphics, overlays, and that sort of thing. Video clip section is perfect for that. That's actually what we used to play our video clip on our show was the video clip section. Perfect, perfect use case for that. But if it's something where you need to have other visuals included in with that video clip, or maybe you need overlays and things like that added from the other sections of the studio to the video clip while you're playing it, that's when you're going to want to use the local video file. It's just really important to note that everything is manually controlled when you're using that local video file. So no sources are automatically hid or muted. Everything's toggled and arranged manually from that way. So you have a lot more customization options, but it's also more work as a producer to use that option.
Hmm. And I think there's also benefits of local video file. There's no limit really to the file size,
Correct.
but I think that the limit is not there, but the file should be really like what Benjamin said, optimized for live streaming. So it's best
Exactly.
to use like program like a Handbrake to set up a good settings. Alrighty, so thanks Benjamin for the really good introductions. We started to get some questions in the chat. So I'm going to be starting populating some of them while we're going to also mix in with some of the topics we wanted to cover today. I got the question a little bit unrelated to the local video or the graphics, but still, I'm sure it's a pressing issue regarding video not the stream not starting to Instagram, which is connected through the yellow dog. Any recommendations on thoughts on this one?
Yeah, there's actually a number of different things that it could be. When it comes to Instagram, there's three main things that you have to be aware of. Well, two main things in your case. The third one is just something that, people don't expect to happen, but it does happen. So the first one is that anytime that you connect to Instagram through Yellow Duck TV, when you generate your stream key from Yellow Duck to get your Instagram information from Yellow Duck, this basically starts a timer, so to speak. So when you make that connection from Yellow Duck into your Instagram account, Instagram is now waiting for that stream information to come in because they don't know the difference between Yellow Duck TV and your actual Instagram stream. They just see that, okay, there's a connection coming in and we need to provide this RTMP information. And so they're waiting. And so if you don't connect within 2 minutes after generating that stream key, it becomes invalid and it's basically a timeout on their end. They say, well, no connection data came in, and they shut it down. This stream key is invalid, and when you do go to connect, it doesn't work because that stream key is no longer valid. So the important part of that is making sure that you go live within 2 minutes after generating that stream key. I recommend having the channel set up beforehand and doing that as the last part of your setup before you're going live. So you got everything else set up. You're ready to go live in a couple minutes. So that's the point at which you go to the Yellow Duck TV app, connect to your Instagram account. It generates that key. You copy it. You go to your Restream account, edit your Instagram custom RTMP channel, paste that new stream key in, save it, and go live. And that will make sure that you go live within that time frame so that the key is no longer invalidated. The second part that's really important. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, there's a little bit of a little bit of my, a little bit of more details on this question that
I'm getting to that second part right
oh,
now.
gotcha, got it.
So, the second part of that is if you go to live stream from an external source, regardless of whether it's, you know, a Yellow Duck TV and Restream or InstaFeed and some other program, or directly through OBS to Instagram, whatever it is that you're doing, when you go live outside of the Instagram application, because that's the key, is that Instagram expects you to be live through their Instagram app on your mobile device. So if you're not doing that and you're streaming externally into Instagram from somewhere else, they expect that you're streaming from your account. So if you go to check your live stream from your own Instagram account, you're not going to see anything because Instagram gets confused and they're like, well, why would they be trying to watch their stream from their account that they're actively streaming through their phones? It's just, it doesn't work on Instagram side that way. So if you want to actually see your own stream on Instagram, you need to use an alternative account to log into the Instagram app and view your stream from. So those are the two things that are the main causes of what can cause you to either not connect at all or not be able to see your own live stream on Instagram while you're live.
Ah, this is super interesting. Instagram is always tricky, and streaming to
Yeah.
Instagram is always tricky. So even I learned something new today. So
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Good to have your expertise, Benjamin, here. We had a few more questions popping up. So regarding the video clips, a little bit more. So Doc
Mm-hmm.
Fasai is asking, is the possible to the short hotkeys being programmed to the Stream Deck for the video
Mm-hmm.
files? Do you know anything about this one?
At this time, that's not a native option. We don't have a direct integration with the Stream Deck. Like, for instance, Stream Deck and OBS have integration. So you can actually connect your Stream Deck to OBS scenes that you've set up and, very easily, just connect that and press a button. It's all like options natively within OBS or within the Stream Deck application. There isn't an option for like that for the studio space at this time. There we may work with them in the future. I'm not quite sure. I would love to see that. But my suggestion would be to check out a program called Auto Hotkey. And what that is it allows you to create hotkeys by using scripting. So you do need to have some scripting knowledge, but you can actually create your own hotkeys and commands to trigger by button presses in the Stream Deck. So that would be my recommendation to see if you want to trigger certain things to happen in your browser, like within the studio space in your browser. You'd actually need to script that to control the browser to do certain things when you're in the studio space. Pretty advanced stuff, but it might be possible to do it that way. Otherwise, I'd say just kind of buckle down and hold on until we maybe work with Elgato in the future on having some official integration with the Stream Deck.
Nice, nice. This is like a next level, definitely a bit more complicated setup. Cool. I have one more question for you. It's regarding the, sorry. Okay. It's regarding the, so updates and views and likes from coming from a different platforms coming into one place. Is that something that we plan to work on, if you know anything?
Yeah, so that would be what is called a web page overlay in most encoding software. So, if you go to OBS, you can create a web page overlay and then use a service like Stream Elements or Tippy Stream or something like that. I like Tippy Stream. That's the one that I've used in the past. Really, really easy to use to create these types of alerts, and that's generally how they're referred to as a web page alert. And so you need to use a service like Stream Elements or Tippy Stream or something like that for this alert to work properly. But you create this alert on that end service, and then it generates a URL that connects this alert to your actual channel that you've connected through this service. And so then you take that and put it into your encoder as a web page overlay. And then when you're live and those interactions happen, like likes, subscriptions, followers, it triggers this pop-up notification in the stream. Usually it'll be like a GIF with some noise and be like, hey, let's all celebrate, it's a new follower, a new subscriber, that kind of thing. So that is not natively possible in the studio yet. Our developers are working on web page overlays and some other really cool features like chroma key and stuff that hopefully will be coming out with. I don't have a particular time frame, but I hope maybe early next year, something like that. And and that's what will allow those types of notifications to pop up. In the meantime, you can still do this with the studio by using OBS in conjunction with the studio. And now I'm sure you're like, whoa, wait a second.
That's actually
That-
also the question from Doc Fasai. So he's also using OBS for overlays. And my
Hmm.
question is to you, is it possible to take OBS into Studio and how to possible to
Absolutely.
do this? So
So
perfect start to the question.
yes, absolutely. So I'm gonna blow some people's mind right now. I am actually using OBS right now, and I'm feeding OBS into the studio as a virtual camera device. And so there's basically two different ways that you can go about doing what I'm doing. Which this is actually a green screen. So this is not actually, this is just a bunch of a green background that I have chroma keyed out in OBS right now. And so I'm using the OBS virtual cam option, so which is that's so I can't actually show you in my screen share, but at the bottom of the screen, when you go into the settings of the studio, and you click that cogwheel and choose the video input option. I've chosen OBS virtual cam, and so it doesn't appear on my screen share option here because it's being used
Okay.
elsewhere. So it doesn't. I don't get this option because it's incognito and all of that stuff. But this one right here, instead of default, I have OBS Virtual Cam selected in our actual studio space, and so there we go. And so this is feeding the content from OBS into Studio as just a camera source. And so this just allows me to then, whatever I have going on in OBS, in the active scene space, is then coming into Studio as the camera source. Really quick and easy to do that. So this lets you, maybe if you only have the need for the one source, then I really highly suggest doing it that way. It's really streamlined, works great. I don't have any problems, doing that ever. That's how I got my chroma key here, my green screen, and you can do this on the professional plan within the studio. Now, there is a second option that you can use, which is the under the ad source or source option, which is a RTMP source feature. Now, you do need the premium plan in order to use the RTMP source feature, but what that does is then that gives you kind of the next level up of doing what I'm doing, which is actually streaming from OBS into the studio. And so you're like, well, what would be the benefit of that instead of doing virtual cam? Well, the main benefit of that is then now you can have multiple camera angles and or multiple camera sources within the studio at the same time. So this is really useful for more advanced streamers who maybe have a switcher set up. Maybe they're doing, maybe they have 3 or 4 different cameras that they have connected to switchers in their computer and doing these other things, and they want to be able to have different angles, different camera sources, but also get those other features like chroma key and web page overlays and things like that. And so this allows you to bring in, your native source just within the studio by going to your settings and choosing the video input, which is that main native source. But then you can also pull in a secondary camera that's maybe you have set up on a switcher, and so you have 3 cameras connected to that switcher set up in OBS, and then you can just switch between your secondary camera angle and do all these really cool things. Bring this all into the studio space, and so then you also have your guests and all of these other cool features that are only available within the studio and not OBS, and that kind of combines and brings together the best of both worlds.
Awesome. I saw in the chat a few questions as well, specifically on Instagram. But
Mm-hmm.
before we jump to the Instagram and troubleshooting on Instagram, I wanted the
Sure.
last questions to ask about the overlays,
Sure.
and that is the regarding the best practices. So
Sure.
actually, people, guys, maybe you can comment this as well. We would love to hear your thoughts. What are the best practices of using graphics? And it would be cool to hear your thoughts on this as well. Do you stick around with overlays only, or you also use
Mm-hmm.
videos? Etc. And maybe Benjamin can also share some suggestions from his best practices that he's seen in
Sure.
working for enterprise.
Sure.
Um, Maybe we can start there where people start populating what their tips are.
Yeah, there's actually two things within the graphics that I didn't quite touch on. If you want to go ahead and toggle that screen share back on, I can touch on those and kind of explain some tips and tricks and my what I see and best practices, all of that good
Hmm.
stuff. So we covered the video clips, but we didn't cover logos, overlays, and backgrounds in depth, which I'll just kind of briefly describe them. I think they're pretty self-explanatory, intuitive in that way, but there are some specific things, best practices, so to speak, about using these. So first of all, you have your logo, right? And the logo is sort of static. It only is going to appear in the upper right-hand corner at this time. You can't move it from that spot. So if you're good with that location and you just want something that's just a small image, the recommended pixel size is 512 by 512 to get it to fit in that space. Evenly, no stretching or weirdness happening in your image. 512 by 512 pixels. Of course, I'm using the Restream logo, but you can upload any logo that you want there. Still images are I would recommend using a still image there. Um, and yeah, that's where it lives, and it's just really easy to kind of have that branded experience. Maybe you have several different shows that you go between, and each one can have its own title and kind of branding of each show, or maybe they're all similar with just different titles of the show. However you want to do that. Now, if you don't
Actually,
want
on
the
this, sorry, actually on this one, we also just if you having a multiple shows, there's a nice way to manage all of the graphics in the one place. Are you one? Sorry, I'm totally interrupting your flow.
that's okay.
I'm trying to make a discussion here, so
Hmm.
but this is something new as well. If you have a multiple shows and multiple running issues for different brands, there's also a new feature we launched just recently, branded folders.
Hmm. Yeah, branded folders is a really awesome thing. It basically lets you have a customized set of graphics, whether logos, overlays, video clips, backgrounds, all of that stuff, pre-set up to really easily switch between each one. So I can have my main show here, and then maybe my default, which would be my second show or something like that. You can name them whatever you want, and each one is going to have its own custom graphics. So if I actually toggle the default graphics off and I switch between to the default show, you'll see that it's actually completely different. As soon as I click on the other show, my background changed, my logo changed, it even popped up with whatever caption that I already had enabled last time I used that folder. And so, however I've configured that folder to start is what it switches to as soon as I switch my brand folder. So if you've used like anything like OBS, vMix, something like that, you can kind of think of brand folders as a scene that you have set up, and each of those scenes have a number of different custom options for you know how like the graphics and captions and all of that looks. And so you can just really easily switch between them and then have your different set of graphics and things that you're using. And each one is individual, so the limits per folder are not shared. So you have like your limit of, I believe it's 10 custom backgrounds or something like that. I think it actually might be more now. I think that was recently up increased, but each one is separate per folder, so they're not shared on those limitations. But yeah, brand folders are a really cool new feature. I personally I'm really excited to take advantage of them. And then we have overlays and backgrounds, which are kind of like the video clips and local files. They're kind of two sides of the same coin. Overlays are going to be the topmost layer of the studio. It kind of sits on top of every other video source, with the exception of captions and chat messages. Those will still sit on top of your overlay. And then backgrounds are the bottommost layer of the studio, so they sit behind every other video source or visual source in the studio. So I'm just going to use default just to kind of highlight that. And so you kind of saw some of the overlays before. These are just the default autumn themes that we have here. Now the recommended size is 1920 by 1080 pixels, because that will take up the entire screen here. And so when you're configuring your overlays and graphics, you want to make sure that you're using the right canvas size, which is 1920 by 1080. I recommend using a PNG file because that file type gives the transparency, which will let you actually see through the overlay. And then you can use any program that allows image editing. That would support PNG files if you want that transparency. But there are some ones that we might recommend because they're these the ones that we've kind of recommended are paid softwares, but they really high functioning, really cool fancy features and all of those good stuff. But of course, you are welcome to use any image editing program that you want. I personally just used Paint 3D, which is the built-in like Windows one. Like when I need to edit something like an image, it's really basic, but it does the job of what I need it to do. If of course if I needed some really fancy options, I wouldn't be able to do that in Paint 3D. But it's the point is that any image editing software will do the job. It just depends upon how many options that you want. Some of the ones that are I've seen used a lot: Canva, Adobe, is it Media Studio or Adobe or Photoshop? That's what it is, Adobe Photoshop. There's a couple other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. Do you have that, Nastia?
No, actually, the most common one I've seen used and I use is Canva as well. So this
Mm,
is kind of where I'm basing it from.
okay.
But in your experience, Benjamin, do you feel like should we just use all the different graphics and different overlays, or there should be a pattern into this? So should we start with the videos and then countdowns and kind of have a
Mm-hmm.
clip in the middle or clip at the beginning? Or
Yeah.
is there anything like a general recommendations that you can suggest as well, with the use of
Sure.
overlays or random
Yeah,
folders and
absolutely.
such?
Um, Really, it mostly depends upon the content that you're doing. So the number one thing that you should first focus on is, okay, what is the type of content that I'm doing, and then base your workflow around the type of content that you're doing. If you're doing a podcast, visual overlays aren't really going to do anything for you because your audience isn't watching the stream, they're only listening to it. So it is important to keep in mind that you need to cater to your audience, you need to cater to the type of content that you're making. But of course, if you are doing like a video stream like we're doing now, it really depends upon the type of audience that you're watching and what it is that you're trying to do. So for instance, if it's like some of the clients that I work with, like large companies, they do a lot of like internal company streams, right? So they're like the heads of the company are broadcasting out to thousands of employees, and so it's all internal, but it still needs to be like a branded experience, right? And so they have a really set workflow. They'll start with like their opening video of like, hey, this is our company, opening that we use in our internal live streams or whatever it is. And then usually they'll do things where it's overlays talking about with identifying who the speakers are, because when you have thousands of employees, it maybe not everybody knows each other's names. So you want to make sure that you have some type of visual identifier of people in that way. And then if you do play clips and things like that during the stream, that's always very engaging. But again, it depends upon what it is. What's the purpose of your stream? What are you trying to get across to your audience? Are you just trying to grow your channel and your audience, and engage with them? You might not use as many pre-recorded video clips than in that case, because you want to focus more on audience interaction and answering questions and maybe even bringing in audience members as guests into the studio or something like that. Whereas if maybe you're focused on selling a product or something like that, you would then probably be more apt to use more visual graphics and things like that, because you're going to be showcasing the product, playing a video clip, or maybe doing a PowerPoint presentation on why your product is the best and people should be signing up for your service, whatever it is. So the best advice that I can give on that is really cater to your audience and focus on the type of content that you're producing and kind of go from there.
Awesome. That's actually the best advice I heard. That. And also, I never heard this is the first time I heard the experience of using a Restream in that way to broadcasting to the internal audience.
Oh yeah.
I think we're also running up to the end of the show very quickly. So we're
Hmm.
going to we'll try to answer some of the questions. And I saw some questions coming in from Brian as well on
We
how
can't forget our
to
giveaway either.
for how to contact the chair, how to get more support and have a call. And that's what I was about to say. We have a giveaway with the book a call with directly with Benjamin. So we're just gonna play that giveaway right now. And in order to win the giveaway, we're gonna show you the question. Hopefully, it's a very easy question. And from the question, person who answers the first two people who answered the question correctly will get the giveaway. And in this case, it's consultation with Benjamin. So some of the questions you guys had with the Instagram or with the customer support, and you wanted to have a bigger, more direct call, this is your chance. So
Hmm.
prepare yourself. And the question is coming in one, two, and here it is. So, what is the allowed length of a video clip? And a reminder, video clip, it's something happens in the studio. So video
Hmm.
clip is in the studio, and we're looking for what is the allowed length of a video clip. And the
Yeah.
first two people who gonna chat will get a giveaway as the conversation with Benjamin. So we
Yeah,
said
and
that
I
we have,
do.
yeah,
Oh, I
go.
just wanted to outline that, this consultation is for people of all experiences, whether you're, a brand new beginner streamer and, just getting started using Restream, have no idea what you're doing, or if you are, really experienced, you've been streaming and, you've used Restream and, you know all the ins and outs, it's really up to you as to how you want to use that time. It's just about what it is that you want help with, whether it's using Restream and learning more about the different features and functionality. Maybe you've run into some snags and you need some troubleshooting assistance, or maybe you just want some advice and some kind of best practices on different platforms, growing your audience, whatever it is. So it's up to you on how you use that time. Um, you
Awesome.
got a couple answers,
We got a
but
couple answers, but they're a little bit off. So the limit is actually in megabytes. So
mhm.
it's we allow the length of video clip. Video clip is
Maybe
something
we
that
can
we
give
use.
them a little bit of a hint.
I
If
think
you,
so. Yes, it's in the
I'll
studio.
toggle the screen share on and kind of remind people that video clips live over here in the studio space.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're talking about here when we're talking about limitations of what it is that we're asking about here. And so,
Bingo. And we have a first correct response is from Christopher saying it's 100 and 300 megabytes. That's exactly spot on. We have also next question. Next is 150 megabytes. This is what we used to have actually, and this is what's changed now to 300 megabytes. So very, very
I think we
close.
can accept that answer. It was the old limitation.
It was the previous limitation that what we have.
Hmm.
So it's actually in megabytes. It's not necessarily in size of the limits and minutes, but
Hmm.
usually it's no longer than a few minutes, so maybe 2, 3 minutes. Not
Yeah, I
usually
think the
because of the
larger,
size.
the
Mm,
longest video I've seen someone upload before was about 5 minutes there, and
yeah,
that's reaching the upper limits of that file size limit once you're right around that 5 minute mark. Especially if you're using like 1080p, video resolution, you're gonna have shorter length of time to use because you're using a larger file size.
awesome. So congratulations, Christopher, and interestingly, Christopher as well. It's just two different
The
Christophers.
two
Okay, Christopher
Christophers.
Sailor and Christopher um, Higuera.
I think
Higuera.
that's
So
right.
hope.
I think that's the close.
So congratulations. Please reach out to support, and Benjamin will share the link to his calendar today so that we can arrange consultations
Mhm.
for you specifically today as well.
Yep.
So as we are getting close to the nearing the end of the question, nearing the end of the show, guys, please post your any of your last questions that you still have regarding the any restream in general or video graphic in particular. Um, So something that I maybe wanted to touch base as well is in what are the benefits of using the graphics in your opinion? As we're closing up the session, maybe it's a good way to talk about why we even should bother with these video clips and overlays, etc. Why not just this direct
Mhm.
stream and just having a conversation like what we have now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really great question, and honestly, it kind of boils back down to what I was talking about before about the content and your workflow and what the point of your stream is, and on how you use the different visual options that you have available to you and how you're engaging with the audience, and I would say it's important to have those visual aspects, but more isn't always better. There is, certain times and at points which I would say less is better because it depends upon where your focus of your show is going to be about. If you're having, a really intense moment in your show and you're really trying to drive a point home, like what we're just talking about right now, where we're talking about, what are the benefits of using these graphical things, and I'm focused on, really talking about why this is helpful, or at what points you should be using this. I personally would, use less graphics at this moment because you want more focus on the person and what they're saying rather than more distraction of like, oh, I've got all of these things going on around me, and so now, my brain is slightly distracted by all of this visual stuff going on, and I'm not paying as quite as much attention to what's being said, versus maybe I do want more, at another point in the show, I want more focus on the content and what's going on around the people, and less focus on what's being said and more focus on what's being seen, and those are the points in which I would use more graphics to draw focus to those particular things that I want to draw focus to in the stream. And so, to answer
And
the question directly, what are the benefits of using graphics is, I think, just that point. It draws focus to the certain things and aspects of what you want to highlight in your stream, whether that is a particular message like the lower thirds that we have going on here, or what that the branding of the show is here, having the Restream logo here and making sure that people really know at any point when they come into the show what it is that they're seeing and what they can expect within those first couple seconds.
Uh, thanks for explaining this. I was just I was just typing a message to Doc, who was saying that thank you for the show. Um, so actually, you know what? In my opinion, if we're talking about the video overlays and graphics, I think the most thing crucial to have is branding, is
Mm-hmm.
enabling the brand name and
Mm-hmm.
customizing your chats and overlays to your brand colors as well. That kind of gives a little bit of an edge to your stream, so it's not
Mm-hmm.
just a stream, it's a Restream stream or whatever the company you're
Mm-hmm.
streaming from, so kind of gives
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more professional touch. I also tend to use a lot of videos. The kittens were my favorite one. Absolutely, never say no
Yeah.
to a kittens in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to you as well. This is where the variations comes in with Benjamin recommendation. On depends on what type of content and what audience you're streaming to. Awesome,
Cater to
thank
your
you.
audience.
Cater to your audience. That's the most
Yeah.
important thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you guys for watching. Christopher and Christopher, please reach out to chat to collect your prize in the
That's the
conversation.
Restream live chat, not
Restream live
not not
chat.
the YouTube chat, the Restream live chat. So go
Exactly.
log into your account, open that chat bubble, and contact our support, and we'll get you set up with some consultations.
Awesome. And thank you guys again for watching us today. It was our pleasure to host you in our show today, in our regular show. And see you soon. We are here every second week, Wednesday. So we are definitely and bringing more content about all the changes that are happening in the Restream and all the new updates and features. And talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.